Are you struggling to keep up with your competition? They're always one step ahead of you, no matter what you do. The reason is pretty simple, and it's the same reason why Starbucks is so successful. Successful companies make their own business rules, while you always play under the rules of your competitors. Let me help you to change that and to become a success using 3 easy steps. Let's go! Welcome to the brand new show where I'll show you how to create an awesome digital brand that people will love without overwhelming your marketing department. What is the USP of Starbucks? Is it better tasting coffee? Is it a cooler atmosphere? If we're honest, Starbucks does not have a unique selling proposition anymore.
Today, Starbucks offers premium quality coffee at affordable prices. Delish.
Every competitor is copying something from them and destroys their uniqueness. And still, they are and will probably remain the reigning champ of coffee for quite some time. Their secret wasn't to make better coffee. They chose to create their own business category, which was much more beneficial than coming up with a USP that's easy to cover. What Starbucks does so well was revealed to me in a friend's unrelated advice that has stuck with me for several years now. When I asked him what I should do to advance my career at the consultancy we worked at, he said this simple truth: never try to be like the other ones ahead of you, but create your own position. It's always easier to shine in a new position than it is to outshine previous employees. He was 100% spot on, and I was able to experience that more than once since then. People will always measure you against those that have come before you and expect you to have the same skill set, but of course even better. Yet everyone is unique and skill sets are very rarely as comparable as employers and business owners would like to. What this also means is that fulfilling someone's expectations of you being better than your predecessor or your competitor will be extremely hard to beat. So why would you set up your brand to be compared to something that is already out there by claiming you are better than what their customers already like? For us as business owners, this psychological wiring is actually great. By knowing this fact, we can simply avoid competing for occupied niches. Funny thing is that every major brand in the world started by avoiding direct competition for an already occupied space in the customer's mind. Amazon wasn't the first store or even the first online store in the world. They claimed the category of being the biggest store in the world. Adidas was the first shoe made for athletes. Nike was the first running shoe made for elite athletes, and so on. For you to replicate that process, it's best to create a mental framework. This framework comes directly from the amazing book 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing, which has helped me change my mental branding model with its first 2 laws. The first law is called the law of leadership. Subtext: it's better to be first than it is to be better. And I quote the first sentence: many people believe that the basic issue in marketing is convincing prospects that you have a better product or service. Not true. I wholeheartedly agree. Competing against an established player is incredibly hard, almost impossible, and not worth the effort.
I understand that sounds provocative, but it's true.
Would you open a better fast food chain to compete against McDonald's? Probably not. And if you did, you'd better come with a couple $100 billion per year to make this an even fight. So yeah, no one would even dream of doing this. Yet, why is it that every day there's a new coffee business that thinks it only has to brew better coffee and they will beat Starbucks? Yes, there are people out there who choose their coffee shop based on taste.
Coffee's not coffee, coffee is sex.
But how do you want to control something as subjective as taste? By competing on taste, you are not creating loyalty to your brand, but to the taste of your coffee, which can change within days when you have to fire your barista. But how can we build a brand without convincing someone of our superior features if all the categories are already taken? This is where the second immutable law of marketing comes into play, and the one thing I want you to always keep in mind: the law of category. Subtext: if you can't be the first in a category, set up a new category you can be first in. This is counter classic marketing thinking, where you would spend millions or billions to convince your target audience to prefer your brand because you have better features. Whenever I struggle with marketing a new product or brand, I think back to this law and see if I have actually paid attention to it. Have I created my own category? If not, I better start now. It is highly unlikely that I'm smart enough to come up with my own big invention, like, say, inventing coffee. But I may be able to put a new spin on an old topic to make a dent in the market and expand from there. Quick question: do you know a fast food brand that makes more revenue than McDonald's and was founded way later? How about Starbucks? Starbucks made 3.6 billion more revenue in 2019 than McDonald's with their measly 21.08 billion, compared to Starbucks 24.7 billion worldwide revenue. In essence, both are serving customers in the same broader category, which is nutrition, but obviously are competing in completely different smaller categories. Also, just as McDonald's wasn't the first restaurant in the world, Starbucks wasn't the first coffee shop in the world. You could buy coffee all over the world for hundreds of years. But today, they are the front runner of the category of coffee shop with a completely different array of tastes like spicy pumpkin or caramel ribbon crunch frappuccino. Starbucks introduced a feeling of being hip and modern back when regular coffee shops were still serving standard black coffee with a shot of milk like in the 60s.
Garçon, coffee!
Starbucks completely revolutionized the coffee shop by creating its own category within the coffee shop category itself. Funny thing is, I have yet to hear someone say that Starbucks has the best pure black coffee. Starbucks changed the narrative from having better coffee to having a completely different style of coffee nobody else offered. This coffee is nothing for coffee purists, but for those that don't care whether their coffee comes from South America or Africa. It's for those that were up for a new coffee experience and felt like their lifestyle value of being different was represented by Starbucks.
This is my Starbucks!
The result of Starbucks' strategy speaks for itself. Starbucks is the most dominant coffee brand in the world. They make more revenue than all other coffee brands worldwide. This is what creating your own category means, and this is why you need your own category to be successful. Creating your own category is actually not all that hard. It's being consistent in delivering value that's the hard part. For a start, here's how you can come up with your own category. First, research your competitors and look at what attributes they try to claim for themselves. The most common categories are cheap, innovative, transparent, customer-friendly, popular, customizable, comfortable, flexible, smart, safe, natural, or sustainable. These categories usually come with a most or best or some other type of superlative. Second, identify segments that aren't being served yet. Can you be the customer-friendliest, family-friendliest restaurant in a 100-mile radius? If you don't have anything that makes you unique, then start being unique today. Never ever become a Me Too product. Even something as common as a baker can do something that no other bakery does. Have the widest selection of bread rolls in their city. Be the only baker that uses chia seeds in all of their creations. Superfood baker. The first baker opening their bakery on Sundays for church breakfasts. Being the baker that has the latest opening hours, being the baker that all the celebrities go to and even fly in just because it tastes good and because they were paid.
Now where's my money?
Look at what trends are happening in your industry. Is everything becoming digital? Is everything shifting towards AR, VR, or AI? Be creative. The possibilities are endless. If you need help coming up with something that's unique, leave a comment and I'll try to help you. Third, shift your entire storytelling towards that category. Once you have identified and integrated your category into your product, never tire of telling everyone about the category. Just say, coffee should be sustainable and should come at a fraction of the cost of a Starbucks Frappuccino. And please never again say you have a better product than your competitor. Always communicate your category first in all your marketing materials such as website, flyers, carpets and pens. When your messaging matches your value proposition and it's unique, it will be very hard for you to avoid additional revenue. You only have to tell your potential customers what makes your category unique. Speaking of unique, I hope you can see now why having your own category is a better framework than thinking really hard about your USP, as the approach is much more holistic and doesn't allow for the easy out of being better or tastier. Keep in mind, just claiming a category doesn't mean you won't have to actually put in the work. So if you really want to be the customer friendliest, you better make sure you live up to that expectation. You have to earn a category, not just call yourself a category leader. But the first step is in identifying your own category. There are so many categories out there, but it seems like every company is always competing for the biggest already occupied category instead of starting in a smaller new category, making a name for themselves there, claiming that new category, and only then expanding into bigger markets to eventually overtake their old competitors. So always try to be first, and if you can't be first in a category, claim another one and take ownership over that new category. You will be impossible to beat if you build your empire that way. By the way, do you know who really did this well? Nike. Instead of being the best shoe, they started as being the best shoe for runners. Then they continued to be the best shoe for basketball athletes from a new generation, and on and on. If you want to learn more about how Nike completely demolished its competition with the help of Michael Jordan, watch this video or let me know what problems you have in marketing and branding right now in the comments. Have a great day and continue to be awesome. See ya.
Is it over? It's all over.